Hi, this is Jennifer Dono with YoungFemaleEntrepreneurs.com, and you are watching the weekly live stream of Young Female Entrepreneurs here in the Oval Eye TV studio. It happens every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, and tonight's show is all on parents. So whether or not your parents approve of you starting a business, if you're in business with your parents, if you've become a parent, if your parents are super supportive, we're talking about it all tonight with Ashley of the Business Beware show. And it's actually BusinessBeware.com is the business that she co-founded along with her family. And so she's going to be talking to us from the perspective of someone that is in business with her parents and as far as I know has a pretty good relationship with them. But we'll find out the nitty-gritty behind what it looks like to be in a family business in just a few moments. But before we get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on at YFE. There's a few events that are going on. The book club is at YoungFemaleEntrepreneurs.com. Make sure that you join our Facebook group. It's all private behind the scenes. You have to get invited into it. We'll make sure that you are an entrepreneurial woman in your 20s and 30s and then invite you in. And we're talking about making ideas happen, I believe is the name of the book. Now I just totally blanked my mind. But it's a great book all about getting your creative process out on paper and actually happening. And there's a lot of great discussion happening around that. Thank you, huge thank you to Jessica of Jessica Newell Media. She's doing a fantastic job moderating the book club, and so kudos to her. The second event is the YFE LA in real life meetup with Erin Haslag of wellinla.com. She's putting this together. If you go to YoungFemaleEntrepreneurs.com and click on IRL meetups, you can find out more about how you can meet up with other young women in the Los Angeles area. Yep, that's Erin. Gorgeous. She's fantastic. And actually, she's going to be telling us a little bit about parents, her parents. She submitted her story to us, and it's a great one about having supportive parents. And the last thing is that YFE TV, what you're watching right now, and if you're watching it on YouTube or on iTunes, cross my fingers that I get that freaking RSS feed up on iTunes this week, that you make sure that you subscribe, you like it, you add comments, and get in on the whole game. And here, of course, subscribe to our email list because that is changing. If you're on our current list right now, it's going away as of Sunday, so make sure that you subscribe to the new one at YoungFemaleEntrepreneurs.com. Did I say all of that fast enough? Yeah, probably. So the last thing, like what I was getting onto before I switch tracks a little bit, is that next week on Oval Eye TV here, ovaleye.tv/live, we are going to be welcoming in two amazing bloggers, Nicole and Donna Ray. That's two different people, Nicole and Donna Ray. And you can show the image of them. I'm sure all of you follow them. It's at Donna Ray and at Nicole is Better. Nicole is Better, I've been following her for years. And Donna Ray, I just started following not too long ago. And they're both 20-something bloggers who have made a living around blogging, whether or not it's monetizing their blog or starting businesses. Very excited to be speaking with them. And so that's next Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. All right, so before we get into too much more, if you're just tuning in now, you're watching the Young Female Entrepreneurs live stream, and it is brought to you by Oval Eye, where we empower your home office lifestyle through web hosting, cloud services, and domain names. Visit ovaleye.com to buy your domain today. And by audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/ovaleye. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. So, again, if you're just tuning in now, we have Ashley of the BusinessBeware.Show.com, which I'm a huge fan of. It's on TV, it's online, everywhere, and she actually started the show, I believe, not too long after she started her family business. Well, I don't know if she started a family business or she co-founded it with her parents, I believe, her parents. And we're going to find out more about BusinessBeware.com in just a second. So before I introduce Ashley on, like I was talking about with Erin, I wanted to get a couple other stories into the whole parenting mix, right? So I watched this, the whole concept behind the show started from a Marie Forleo interview. And I have an image of this, and it's with Mastin Kipp of The Daily Love. And if you guys are on the live chat, I just want to let you know that I am on the chat, so make sure you let me know if you've seen this video or not. It's in there after the images with Donna Ray and Nicole. So this one, yes, perfect. How to live your purpose. And Maston Kipp of the Daily Love, he was living in this little bungalow trying to push this big show, you know, or the big blog that he has going right now. He's on Oprah and a few other places. But in the beginning, he was living in a shack or in like a pool cottage, I think is what he was saying. And his mom was just like, when are you going to get your act together and start, you know, get a job and become an adult? And he said how that negative talk really affected him and how you have to kind of raise above what your parents' expectations were. So that's where the whole concept of the show came from, was from that interview, and I highly recommend it. I'll make sure that I include the link somewhere around this video, wherever you're watching it. And then the second piece is Bethany Frankel. I'm sure a lot of you young women follow her, but she has a book called A Place of Yes, and it's a book that I'm reading it for the second time. I read it last year after I had, not too long ago, after I had my son. And her first rule is to break the chain, is what she says. And it's the idea that you have all of this noise around you of what your parents' expectations were of your past, of people saying you can't do it, that type of a thing. And so I'm excited to talk to Ashley about this because she has, it sounds like, a very loving, supportive family, and she's in this family business. But before I introduce Ashley, this is like the 5th tease that I've done for Ashley. Sorry, Ashley. She's in our green room. She's probably like, goodness gracious, this girl needs to get it together. All right, so Erin of wellinla.com that I was just talking about, that's hosting the LA meetup. She was saying her story about her parents is that they're the perfect blend of an entrepreneur in the making. This is her words. My mom has worked for a very large international company for 32 years, and I have images of Erin too in there. My dad tried to follow the path, but after 15 years of working, decided to strike out on his own. He taught at a local tech school and ran his own shop as a machinist. My parents always seemed to find a way to strike the balance between the safe and secure and the unknown of the entrepreneurial world. Both encouraged me to pursue a formal education and career path, for which I am thankful. After working in a professional setting post-grad school until late last year, I decided to strike out on my own. My parents have been incredibly supportive and are very willing to listen when needed and offer advice when warranted. They are proud and love to share my website and my work with people they meet. I couldn't ask for a better set of parents, nor a better partner in life for that matter. Oh, it's so sweet. So that was a really positive, happy story. So let's go ahead and kick off the show with that in mind then. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Ashley without further ado. My goodness. Ashley Bodi, I'm pretty sure is how you pronounce it. Gosh, I'm really winning it tonight. She's the co-founder of Business Beware and co-host of the Business Beware show. Ashley's passion to create Business Beware came from working at the family businesses. It was there that she realized that small business owners needed a voice just as consumers have with the Better Business Bureau and Angie's List. Through the success of BusinessBeware.Biz, Ashley and her father launched the Business Beware show. The show is where they share the behind the scenes of a business, of what it takes to run a business, the ups and downs of working with family, and the side of customer service you don't see. Ashley's mission is to continue to be a voice for small business owners across the country through Business Beware and IamAMomandPop.com. Welcome to the show, Ashley. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. So now that I finally introduced you on, my goodness, I don't know what I was thinking with that. But Ashley, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started? Or first, tell us what Business Beware is.
How long is this program thing again? I'm just kidding. I could talk for hours. So basically, Business Beware in a nutshell, it really started. My dad and I talked after college. He's been a business owner for over 30 years, and in his family business and everything. And we started talking, and we're like, I didn't fully get it at the time, but he was like, consumers have all these different things where they can rate businesses, and through Angie's List, Better Business Bureau, and he's like, there's nothing out there for the consumer. And really there wasn't. So when I came to Florida and I started working with our 3 businesses we have aside from Business Beware, I kind of realized that consumers really do have all these outlets and there's nothing for the business owner. So I thought, what can we do? So basically, Business Beware became this. At first, it started out. It's kind of like this long timeline. It first started out like a reverse Better Business Bureau. And then it developed, and there was a problem that people had, and the problem was that people weren't paying the bills. Like contractors were getting, not getting the money for what they did and all this different stuff. So we're like, how can we solve this problem? So that's when we launched the Beware Letter, which is actually, it helps a business be able to collect from a customer, because a business has to pay a collection agency between 20 to 50% if they collect that money. So with the Beware Letter, when you collect that money, it's basically saying, hey, Business Beware is my voice. This is what it is. And if you don't pay me, then I'll put you on the website. So almost, it's not blackmailing, but it's just kind of like, hey, all I want to do is collect money, shake your hand, and walk away and be done with it, not take you to court. So basically, when they use the Beware Letter, they don't have to pay 20 to 50%, so it saves them money and time and not having to go to litigation,
Okay,
basically.
so when you talk about putting them on the website, what does that mean?
You know how like Better Business Bureau, like when it puts a business on there and it says like a complaint, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. Basically, the customer most of the time, and the thing is we moderate everything. Okay, so just let me say that, because we delete anything that's bad, all that different stuff, but most of the complaints are basically like the person's name and the address, and it just says what happened, and also most of it is usually a no-pay customer. And the thing is most people don't file complaints anymore. It's to use the Beware Letter. So all people want to do is collect their money.
Oh,
so
well, that's
yeah.
cool. It's a
Yeah.
very interesting way that it's evolved. So now,
Slightly.
let's talk about the actual partnership that you have. So you're partners with just your dad in this business?
Yeah, my dad and I started off, and it just kind of evolved into the whole family, basically. So I wrote my mom into the show now and everything, and she doesn't let me live it down every day. So
Oh, I love your mom on the show. She's so much fun. Everyone on the show is actually really fun. You feel like you're part of your family almost watching it. So it's been fun to follow it. So all right, so you're partners with your dad specifically in the business. Now, you talked about in your bio that you had some family business experience, and that kind of led you into all of that. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like being brought up as an entrepreneurial offspring, I guess, an offspring of...
Yeah, slightly. This is the $1 million question I keep getting asked, and I actually love telling it. It's just to give you an idea, when I was in high school, I said, I will never work with a family business. And so what am I doing right now? I know it's completely crazy, but the thing is like, you see like your family, they work together, all this different stuff. And let me go ahead and say this, our family dynamic is amazing. I mean, it really is. It's one that like a lot of people don't have, so we're very blessed to have that. But growing up in it, I saw how my dad would have to always be at beck and call and do this and do that and go over and beyond about different things. And that's why I was like, I don't want to be a part of that, But then it just kind of shifted whenever, different things happened. And then I came to the family businesses, and it all just clicked. Like it kind of was like it was meant to be. And it took me a while to realize that, because the thing was, it's not that I didn't want to work with them. It's the fact that we had such a great dynamic that I didn't want anything almost to break that, I guess, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes sense. So now you finally decided to join. Has the dynamic changed?
No, not at all. It's actually gotten stronger. That's what's the weird part. It's actually gotten a lot better. Not that it was ever bad, it just got a lot better. But the thing is like my dad and I are so much alike. So I know when to push his button. He knows when to push mine. So that's a bad thing. But at the same time, the thing about family, working with them, is they know your potential. So therefore, whenever you're, like other people may not push you in certain areas that your family would. And so that's the beauty of working with family, I think, from my personal opinion, is that they actually push you to do better and to do your best. And so that's where we've really connected on such a higher level, is because nothing is ever not able to be achieved because we're going to do it together. And it's like having basically a team always behind you with everything. So.
Okay, so talk about the businesses that your family did own then when you were growing up. What were those businesses?
They are, my dad did like irrigation and landscaping and like landscape design. He designs like baseball fields, soccer fields, all the different stuff. And so obviously when I was a kid, I was like, I don't want to do that. I was like, I don't understand it, even though I love sports, but it just was like, no. And but I'm not gonna lie, when I moved to Florida, I was out there on a tractor doing what I had to do. And it's actually a lot of fun, not gonna lie. But yeah, I think a lot of that is a family business. That's what I get asked a lot is, I don't want to work in that certain thing. But that certain thing, like when I first came back, the fence company, the irrigation company, and the sports field renovation, I was like, I didn't know a thing about fence. I was like, why am I going to do this? And so, but I had to learn. But the thing is I learned how the business worked on top of trying to learn that. So it's like I gained all this knowledge that I never gained in like college or anything.
Okay, so you talked about going away to college and not wanting to be part of the family business. What
Yeah.
did your parents think about that? Were they supportive of you saying, heck no, I'm going off to school? I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, they were very supportive. I actually, my goal, I played sports in high school, and so my goal was to get a scholarship, and I got an athletic scholarship, volleyball, to play. And of course, at that time, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. But my parents have always been very, very supportive of everything because they're supportive, and it's like they've always had that mentality like I'm gonna have to learn on my own. I mean, they're still gonna be there to pick me up when I fall, but it's kind of like they're not gonna push me in a certain area where I think, they know if I push you, then maybe you'll rebel in a sense. I don't know, but they've always been supportive in that way. So it was never an issue like that I didn't want to. I think my dad, he'd probably admit right now and say, I always knew she was gonna be a part of the business. I just had to let her find her way.
It's funny, I'm listening to you, and in full disclosure, my dad is sitting here. He's the producer. So I've partnered with my parents, both of my parents in my business. So a lot of the stuff that you're saying is just like I could copy and paste it into my life. That's exactly like the same sentiment. So I think it's funny. But I mean, so in all of this, do you feel like your parents have pressured you in any way to go down any specific path? I know you said that they really didn't growing up, but even specifically on a day-to-day basis, like looking at it, do you feel like they say, Ashley, this is what's worked for me in the past. You can't do this new social media fancy 2.0 kind of thing. I mean, are they hesitant for that? What does that look like?
That is a daily battle with my father, but I think he just likes to make me mad. I don't know what it is. No, I'm just kidding. That's the thing about the generation gap, and I think that's what actually a lot of people like about our show is the fact that I bring things to the table and they bring things to the table, vice versa. But they've never pushed in a sense where it's like in the wrong way. Like because it all goes back to the dynamic, and I don't think a lot of people have a great dynamic. I mean, you guys seem like you have a great one too, and so I think that really plays a big part as far as people pushing or different things. And I think too many family businesses actually do push people in the wrong way, and that's where they don't ever want to like work with them ever again. But my experience, I mean, they didn't ever push me like that. They pushed me in a good way to work harder. Like my dad, literally, when I first came to Florida and started working with the fence business, had no idea what I was doing. He threw me to the wolves. And he basically did. And I'm like, what about this? What about this? And he's like, I don't know, figure it out. I mean, but it was, I didn't like it at the time. But the good thing is that I learned and I just had to figure it out. And so figuring it out, he knew what he was doing. I mean, he helped me in different areas. He didn't just like, but I think that's a lot of times parents don't do is they help them too much and then they don't learn on their own. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes total sense. It's funny. We do web hosting, and I had to learn a lot of the server stuff on my own. I come to my dad, who's our technical director, and ask him questions, and he'll say, I don't know. What do you think? Like, that's not why I'm coming to talk to you. So no, that makes total sense. So, and that, I mean, that's a great tip, is that a parent can give their child or their young female entrepreneur some room to learn on their own. Now, as far as the young female entrepreneur goes, do you have any type of tip as far as working with or building a business with their parents or their mom, their dad?
I think the thing is like being young, and I've learned this as I've gotten older because I look back and I'm like, why did I ever say that? Why did I ever do that? And now it's like, don't do it. But basically when you're young, I know you're going to think that you know everything and you don't. Not that our parents know everything. I don't think, like my dad always says, he still doesn't know exactly what he wants to do, and he's 51 years old. So I think the thing is that if you need to listen to your parents, because if they've run a successful business or they know what they're doing, they have a lot of advice to offer you. And then also as the younger, that was the biggest thing I think between my dad and I when I first came. We butted heads because I wasn't just the daughter anymore. I was actually the coworker or the co-owner in a sense. And so it became this thing like he had to learn to let the strings loose a little bit, and I had to learn to listen to him as not a dad, but also a like a side by side worker
Right.
owner. And I think that's the biggest thing for people that go into family businesses, whether it's father, daughter, son, whatever, anything. I think you got to listen to each other and you got to let people put stuff on the table because if you just shut them out immediately, I think that's where a lot of the, yeah, animosity comes from.
Well, okay, so speaking of animosity, let's go to the darker side of the parent relationship here. Camille Forte of Studio Map and Michael Alley Photography, I have a couple images of her. She submitted her story, and that it was her mom convinced her that there was a lot of bad stuff. She wanted to become a model, and she wanted to start her own business, and her mom would tell her that she wasn't pretty enough to model, that I mean, just a lot of hurtful things. And
Yeah.
finally, she had to make the hard choice of reclaiming her life and choosing, entrepreneurship or her mother's approval. Which, I mean, oh my goodness. That's where, it gets hard. It doesn't even have
Yeah.
to be that kind of as far negative as that, her mom saying negative things to her. It could just be that your parents, you have a good job and they want to see you have that security there. So do you have any advice to that young person who's trying to decide whether or not to go after their parents' approval or to do something that feels good, that feels right to them?
Yeah. Because I've never been in that situation because I've always had been, blessed enough to have that lucky supportiveness. But the thing is, I think that if they're completely not supportive of you, that's where you just really kind of got to figure out, if this completely makes you happy and you're not happy doing the other thing, why are you going to spend all your life doing something you don't like? I think that goes for anything. If you don't like what you're doing, then why are you doing it? And I know that a lot of people with security and all this different stuff. And I come from an entrepreneurial family where, there are ups and downs and there are weeks where you're like, oh, you're going to make payroll. It happens. But the thing is that if you're working a corporate job or something like that, you could be let go tomorrow. I have lots of family members that are in the corporate world that they get let go and they've had a lot of things happen. So I think my advice or my tip is, it really comes down to if they don't approve, I think that you can prove them to them that you can do it if you just take that leap and you do it and you have to be persistent about it. That's the thing is you can't just think, oh, it's going to work because it's going to be a lot of hard work. But if you are willing to put in the time and the effort, then I say go for it. Why not?
I love the tip about persistence. That's a great one. And I don't think
Yeah.
I think a lot of young people look at it as being a shiny kind of sexy thing right now to start your own businesses, and they don't realize that you're going to be broke for a really long time probably, and
Pretty
it's
much,
hard.
yeah.
On the flip side, Tori Molnar of myutoria.com, oh my gosh, Ashley, she's the cutest thing ever. She's like 15 years old, and her mom has been pretty influential within her own business. They both founded the company together, and she was saying that she spends a lot of time with her parents, or with her mom specifically, and I can definitely, second that. That happens a
Yeah.
lot, and how
Me
important
too.
it is to spend time apart. Is that something that you value, or is it not really that big of a deal? I guess the bigger question here is, what does an average day look like for Ashley?
I'm with them all the time. No, no, really, I am. And I think the thing is, we talk about this all the time on the show, is we have a lot of like husband and wives and they're like, oh, I'm working together, I'm living together. What can I do? And even my parents will be the first ones to tell you that you have to have like your own thing in a sense, or at least just a little bit of time apart. And it's not like, okay, you're getting on my nerves, you need to go away. It's not that. It's just the fact that you need to be able to separate kind of like work from the home and different things. And that goes for the daughter or the son or whatever. It's kind of like everybody. You need that little bit of alone time or separate time. And I think that actually keeps it stronger because the thing is you spend, as a family business or all that stuff, you do so much together as it is anyway. You've definitely got to separate it. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I do. And it keeps me, because the thing is my dad and I will seriously talk about business all the time. And there's just sometimes I'm like, Dad, I just need like 10 minutes. I just need to take it down a notch, you know? And I mean, and really have to. I mean, you have to sometimes switch off. And I think sometimes people forget to do that and it can cause some problems.
Now, switching off, is that something that's on a traditional, I'm taking weekends off kind of a thing? Do you have nights by yourself? Do you have like a normal schedule, or do you work kind of odd whenever you can kind of a thing?
Pretty much like, well, because we run the businesses during the day and I kind of do business beware in the down moments and at night and everything and on the weekends whenever everything works. But so there's really no typical day for me. I mean, I go into the office about like 8:39 and leave usually 4:30, depending upon, you know, what I've got for that day or something. But it it really, the thing is I love to go on trips, and whether it's incorporated some business like or something like that, sometimes it's just nice mentally to get away. And whether sometimes I try not to do anything business wise, although us entrepreneurs, we say that and then it never happens, but you know, whatever. But if you love what you do, then you know, it's not work. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree with that. Now, okay, so one of my last questions that I'm going to ask you is around healthcare reform. So now kids can have health insurance from their parents if their parents are employed and have benefits up until they're 26.
Right.
So the idea that someone could graduate from school and start a business with their parents is actually kind of cool. I mean, young entrepreneurship, or being and getting involved in entrepreneurship at a young age, is becoming much more realistic. Now, if
Right.
someone wanted to take advantage of that and think, okay, I have benefits up until 26, let's go ahead and start a business right now while I have time, and they wanted to approach their parents about starting a business with them, do you have any tips as far as that goes about, you know, how to go about the initial conversation? Was there certain legal matters that you wanted to take care of? What did that process look like?
I mean, if you're wanting to go into the family business, I mean, that's actually kind of one of the things when I first started, that was kind of a nice little perk, you know, because I mean, if you're gonna, it almost kind of, I think, is a family business, and like parents, they should give that to you anyway, because like, especially if you're gonna take that and start working with them, because it really kind of is a sacrifice. I mean, you know, I say sacrifice, it's a good sacrifice, but at the same time, it's like you're putting all this time into it. But I think if you're going to approach it, just be honest. You can't ever go wrong being honest about anything. And, you know, if your parents, I mean, it depends on how your parents are, the dynamic and everything, you know, how they are as far as, but I think that should be something covered in the very beginning, because just don't assume it, because a lot of times it can be assumed and it's not a good thing.
Yeah, no, so be honest. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So, along with that, just because, I mean, when you look at it, you're a young person that's going into a relationship that you've had with your parents where they've taken care of you in the past, and you are, I mean, it's especially nice right now, like I said, with healthcare, but also financially wise. I mean, this is not true for everyone, but I interviewed someone a couple years ago, Fair Frou Frou Lingerie out of Hollywood. They're the cutest mother-daughter team, and they have this gorgeous Dita Von Teese shops there for lingerie. And the daughter was saying that she was really lucky in that the first 3 years, her mom kind of took care of her, helped her out with different expenses while the business was growing. Has that been something that you've been able to appreciate? And if not, I mean, do you have tips for young people, I guess, that are in that kind of strange stage that they don't want to live off of their parents anymore, but yet, like, the business isn't going very well? I mean, what are the gray areas for you, and what's worked well for you?
It really kind of worked well. I mean, the point that I was at when I first came back to work for the businesses, it was kind of like I should just do it. Because at the point, it's kind of when the economy started going down, it was like, well, there's no jobs, there's no nothing. And I think that's where a lot of people are kind of sliding into the businesses right now, or working with family. And I think you should just go for it, because I think it's kind of like moving back in with your parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I think a lot of people are like reserved, or like, oh, well, that means I've failed, I'm going to move back in with my parents. It's kind of like, I'm working with family. And I'm not going to lie, I felt a little bit like that when I was first approached about working with the family, because I thought, that means I can't find a job, you know, and I was in that mentality, and I shouldn't have been, as now I've gotten older, but I think a lot of people are reserved on that, and you shouldn't be, because there's a lot of benefits to working with family. I mean, you know, I get time off when other people don't. And it's, you know what I mean? Like you get to take time off for different things that you couldn't do with other stuff. And almost like it's a kind of a team, and it's a, um, I don't know. It's just a great thing to be able to do. And I would tell anybody to take the chance and do it, just because one, the benefits, yes, are nice, especially if it works. If it's starting out, I mean, that's kind of hard with anything. Any startup, or when you're first starting out, it's going to be tough. You just got to know that. And like goes back to persistence. Like if you don't know that going in, that you're going to have to put a lot of time into it, then, you know, get ready for a roller coaster, because there's going to have one. But as far as any, you know, going into the business, should you do it? Should you not do it? You should definitely do it. Just, I think the first thing before jumping in is think about your dynamic. If you literally can't get along with your family outside of like business, then it may not be a good idea to go into business with them. But if you know what I mean? If it's kind of like one of those things like, oh, it's either or, you know, you never know. It could have been the best thing you've ever done. So
that's a good point. All right. So Ashley, the last question is, what is your favorite part of being in business with your family? Any particular experience that you've just been like, wow, that was insane, and if I hadn't have been in business with them, I would never have experienced that?
Oh gosh. There's actually a lot. There's not a day that goes by that it's almost like it's like a really cool memory. And I know that's really simple, but the thing is that I have all these memories that I didn't have. Like, I mean, you had memories as a kid, but it was kind of, for me, when I was sitting there with my dad, when we started, it started out as a radio show and then developed into what it is now. I remember sitting there talking with them, and I just thought, this is the coolest thing in the world. I'm having a radio show with my dad, you know, like on the air, like, and it kind of just hit me, like everything hit. And I just realized how cool it was to be able to do this, you know. And I mean, not that I didn't think that before, it just kind of hit me then. You know, it's almost like every day I wake up knowing that I get to have that support system, and, you know, we get to share it all together. And at the same time, you know, I mean, you know, when you're younger, it's all about friends and all that different stuff. But as you get older, you're like, okay, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, you know? And I mean, I know to get all technical with all that, but I mean, it really, I don't know. Every day is an amazing journey, and I think it's made me a better person, working with family, and I'm stronger for it. And, you know, they've taught me more than I ever learned in school or anything. And so, I mean, that even goes back to my grandparents. So you know, I think a lot of people don't get a lot of credit for that, even like small business people and stuff. They work hard. And it's, I'd rather be doing that than, you know, have tons and tons of money. So they've taught me what's important in life, not only in life, but in business. So
that was really cute.
That's what I mean.
A little envelope signed, sealed, delivered. That's really sweet. All right. So before I'll let you go. I want to ask you one more question. Dating. I mean, are boys, guys, dudes, are they intimidated by dating you? Because, I mean, you own your own business, then you are with your family all the time.
That actually, I was having a conversation with friends last night about that, and because they were trying to set me up with somebody, and, you know, that's the problem that I keep running into is, you know, the thing is like, you know, you and I, we are not afraid to talk to people. You know, and I mean, I think any young female entrepreneur, especially, if you have that in you where you just are a go-getter and you aren't afraid to talk to people, you aren't afraid of this, it scares a lot of guys. I'm not gonna lie. And I think that's what it is, and it's intimidating, I think, because not too long ago, just as a funny, I was on a date and I was telling them, you know, I don't like to talk about myself as much unless they ask, or anybody. And so I was telling them, oh yeah, this and that. And I mean, they just immediately shut down. I thought, great. This is And so, I mean, I think it is. And, you know, the thing is like, I know this is just stupid silly, but, you know, you're going to find the right person. I can tell you that right now. I mean, you're going to find the right person when it's supposed to be, and focus on what you're supposed to focus on right now, because down the road, everything's going to work out. It's like all the little ducks in a row come in. And, you know, if you want to do something and you have a dream, you have an idea, go for it. Don't wait, because you don't know what tomorrow holds. So
I like it. If you have a dream, go for it. Wise words from Ashley. So Ashley, where can we find you online?
You can find me at, BusinessBeware.Biz. You can find me at businessbewareshow.com and get a giggle with all of our family. And of course on Twitter at businessbeware. And basically, yeah, you can find me anywhere. Anything with Business Beware, you're probably going to see me. So what have you.
Awesome. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for being on the show. I know that there's like a million different topics I could have talked to you about, video, business and kind of an industry that not a whole lot of women are in, tech, all sorts of fun stuff. But I'm so thankful that you were on the Parent Show because you've got a great outlook on everything, so positive and very successful in business, and wish you the very best.
Thank you.
So, Ashley, thank you again, everyone. You've been watching the Young Female Entrepreneurs live stream here Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern over at ovali.tv/live. Next Thursday, make sure that you tune in for Nicole and Donna Ray, two amazing 20-something bloggers that are going to be answering all of your questions about monetizing blogs, from the silly little ads into starting your own business. All right, well, thanks so much for watching, and hope to see you back here live next week.